So, our next guest is best known for a brief but very fruitful period spent as the vocalist for the seminal krautrock band Can. From 1970 to 1974, his capricious vocals.
So the 73.
70 to 73.
Yes.
73. 1970 to 1973, his vocals graced some of the band's most acclaimed records, such as Tago Mago, Ege Bamyasi, and Future Days. And this music went on to influence many of probably your favorites from across genres. But he's gone on to spend much of the last 3 decades on a never-ending tour, continuing to challenge the conventions of the music industry by playing improvisational shows around the world with local musicians. So please welcome Mr. Damo Suzuki.
Thank you very much. So nice to see you here. So I would say good morning because I just wake up. But I hope you enjoy this. So nice to meet you, everybody here. So that's a good amount of the people because I can see almost everybody. But normally I have glasses on, so actually I cannot see you at all.
Well, everyone can maybe come up and shake your hand after if you'd like to see their faces more clearly. So we'd emailed quite briefly ahead of this chat, and you wanted to maintain a spirit of spontaneity for this conversation, Can was a very long time ago, and you said, "I'm here for the now."
It's almost half century ago, so nobody over here is having life, so it's so long.
But I thought it might be useful for some of the young musicians in this room to see what you were doing when you were around their age. So I wanted to play a short video. This is a performance of Can's Vitamin C from 1972. So that was a clip of Vitamin C by Can. You were about 22, 23 years old at that time?
I guess so. I cannot remember. It's a very, very long time before.
You weren't watching the video while it was playing. How does it make you feel?
Not really good. I don't feel really so. It's not me,
What do you mean?
Time gap is quite many, and because I'm doing something else now, and I'm already near to 70 years old, and it's just different. So if I say things like this, I'm watching at my own kids or something like this. So
yeah, does the nostalgia and the meaning that other people have for that music carry any value to you?
I don't know, because it's a so strange thing. So I was together with the camp for only 3 years, but strangely, so every 10 years, people is remembering a can and doing something like first happened with punk time, and also hip hop people like to have this one new wave and electro things, and it's so strange because people is all the time so remembering, because it could be one reason. Well, we are 5 people, but the 5 people came from a different music direction. So 2 of the people is studied by Stockhausen, and one was a free jazz drummer, and one was a younger guitarist. I was just a hippie from the street. So any just different kind of people came so together. That's why it's quite interesting still. But if we did it only same likeness, like so we like this sort of the music, and everybody like this music, then it don't get further for development of the music, So you need many different kind of informations, then you can make much more interesting things. So not just so concentrating in only one things. And also it's the same like food, because I like to speak about food because I really like to eat food too. And food is also, so if you like this food, and if you eat every day, then it doesn't make any effect anymore. you know. So music is also, you take many different kind of things. So don't listen to only one music. So because if you are having only music, so your creativity is limited. But if you have many interests, you must be very curious about many things, not only the music, but the social movement or political, many things. Just it's around yourself, everything is happening. So you must take it and you must have really interest on it. So then you can make really something quite special for you.
I think we'll definitely explore some of these different interests of yours as we get into the conversation. But I do want to stay a little bit in the past, only because I think it's very interesting that your arrival in Europe, you left Japan while you were a teenager. Clearly, from a very young age, you were willing to kind of stake your own path. Why? Can you talk a little bit about what Japan was like at the time when you left and why you chose to come to Europe?
I don't know how many of you are coming from so island like New Zealand or Japan or some kind of island. So you know, if you are in the island, you have a dream to go to continent anyway. So, and that's the same. So me too. That time. Also, that time was 1968. First, I left Japan. It was much different situation like now, and it's not usual to traveling to another country, and also so social environment is also not really good that time. There was almost no flight, only ship, and so things like this. So if you are living in such a situation, so you have much more dreams than today, because today you can go to London for maybe only 80 euro or something like that, and takes only 1 hour or something like that. It's traveling itself is very easy. But that time was a kind of adventure. So once you left the country, then you might never come back again. So it's a kind of things totally different. So, but I think now it's much better, I think, so because everybody can go to see any other country, and so very quite cheap. You can go to anywhere, and you can meet many different people. So you have such an opportunity now, so you can make many things that we couldn't make it that time.
Were you always curious from a young age? And is that, what was the impulse to leave, you know?
Yes, I was not really good in the school, so I thought, so I better don't stay in Japan because I can get not really good future. And another side is only one good thing in my school time was geography. So it was my hobby. So when school is over, so come back home and just open the atlas, and I'm dreaming so to go to somewhere. So you know, so and besides that, I like always adventures. So that's why I came to Europe, and I think it was really good because I born as a Japanese, but that's the meaning that I must all the time, all life long, I must stay like Japanese, because everybody's birth is you didn't choose. You are as an American, or you're from a rich family or poor family or any kind of thing. You never choose with yourself. So why not? If you're getting so a little bit older, 17, 18 years old or more, so you choose your place to live. So.
Why did you choose to come to Europe then?
Yes, because if I'm living in Japan, so we had many information from the States, because we lost World War II. So if you lost the World War, so all winners' cultures coming to this losers' country. So I was not so much into American culture for this reason. So I came to Europe, and before that I wrote letters to many newspapers in Europe to get some sponsors, because I didn't have so much money. So how I can live in Europe, and so And in Sweden, there is a newspaper, and they wrote about me. So, and then after I got the 21 letters from Sweden. So if you come to Sweden, so I can take care of you and things like this. So that's why I came to Europe. So this is the main reason.
And you lived in a commune for a bit when you were in Sweden?
No, it's not true, because if people is talking to another people, and so sometimes the story is getting totally different.
Okay.
So, you know, so I was not living in a commune, so it was a small village with only 50 people is living in the middle of almost nowhere in Sweden. So middle of, even Swedish people don't know this place where it is. So such a place, you know. So, and I like the place being such a place because I'm not fan of big cities. Because if you live in a big city, you have so much stress and not necessarily things you get trouble or problem or so things like this. So I really didn't have this kind of thing. So I wanted to live naturally as possible because it's much more easy to live this way.
What was it like being Japanese in Europe at that time, the mid to late 60s?
Yeah, it's really so totally different because there was not every corner Japanese sushi place or things like that. So you know, so maybe even Chinese people was not so much there. So end of the 60s, so totally different. So. And even you can hear so many different kind of restaurants from Vietnamese or so something like that. This kind of stuff is not only maybe Italian or Yugoslavian food or something like this. That was all. So.
But it was okay, like your experience, or was it difficult?
No. It's not so difficult because I like anyway so adventures and I can take it as it comes. So it's a much more easy way to. So, you know, I really don't like to have any plan. So she was asking me to do something today, some kind of a script or something like this. I said, no, it's not really good. Just make it so natural as possible because I like improvise stuff. Because if you are improvising, it's much more honestly with yourself and much more personally. So if you already planned, then you go to the same direction all the time, and so you are not free, and so you know. So that's why I like this kind of a platform all the time improvise things. So
when you were moving from kind of place to place within Europe, how did you know when it was your time to kind of move on to somewhere else?
Actually, I didn't think anything. So maybe tomorrow weather is good, or so. Then I go to this place, or so things like that. It was so not so complicated, just easy. So because for me, so my lifelong philosophy is so be myself. Mm-hmm. So be just Damo Suzuki is for me the best way and it's easiest way, so I can make it. So
how did you kind of develop this personal philosophy? I mean, what we often read or hear about Japanese culture is it's very, what's the word? It's not as rooted in the individual. So you've said this philosophy has kind of been a lifelong thing. Where did those ideas come from?
I think it comes from a kind of a provocation, because I told you so before, I was living in the quite middle of American cultures. So it wasn't not me. So because it was just forced to take this culture because we lost the World War. So this was not so, and I think everything to do with something like provocation all the time, because I really like to have any kind of provocations against authority and against capitalism or anything like this, because I told you that I like small cities, small villages, because I really don't like the big cities because there's many so problems. So I like to stay. And I think so. Just begin with the kind of provocations. All the time I'm provocating, and indeed, provocation is one of the most important things for creative activities. Without this, you cannot go so further. And with your energy is also important, and you cannot go further without any kind of provocation.
Can you talk about, obviously you're talking about the American influence in Japan as a big provocation for you. Can you talk about maybe some of the different kinds of provocations or prompts that some people in here, some of the musicians in here might encounter or draw inspiration from?
Yes, but I don't like to talk so many things that I'm thinking, so because so everybody here is maybe 30, 40 years younger than me, and they have their own life to live. So they must develop with myself, and I'm just 40 years older, and I say something, actually it's not really good space to talk about, and I'm not a real person, so you can choose just anybody else. So everybody has a different kind of experiences. So, and that's why I don't like to talk so much about this. So just thing is so quite, you are here, and society is here, and any kind of energy you must make to the people, and you get this energy back from the people. So this is the most important things, because music is communication. So music without communication not exist. So that's why I'm doing since quite a long time kind of improvisation, but I don't say it's improvisation. So instant composing. And I'm doing.
So you call it instant composing?
Yes,
Okay.
for me it's quite important to have all the time so new words, because improvisation, if you say improvisation, it's kind of maybe jazz people is doing this, is improvisation, but actually improvisation is not that good meaning. So so if you invite somebody, and maybe 3 people you invited for your party or something like that, or meeting, and suddenly comes 5 people or much more people, then you say I improvised something. So it's not so really good. So I use instant composing, because we are composing on the stage. And also, quite important is for me is instant composing, ing. So ing is just now and at the moment, and this is a point that I'm quite, for my music making is quite important, just at the moment. And that's why I use ing. And if you say ing for maybe 20, 30 times, you can try to say it, then it suddenly sounds like energy. So energy is the most important thing for us, our substance, to living and to understand anything and to involve in anything. So energy is the most important thing. And if it's depends on if you have a positive energy or negative energy. But I hope everybody going to get so positive energies. Because if you have a positive energy, you can make another people also happy, and this person gets so positive energy, and this person to another people going, then our world is going to step by step getting a better way.
Yeah, this is something that you've spoken about, which is that you're not so in favor of grand statement or grand gesture or product. Instead, you prefer more of a step-by-step approach, more one-to-one kind of communication. Can you talk a little bit about the potential of that?
For maybe I must say so, example like so communication today everywhere, because so as I told you that I'm making concert with just random musicians, so who I never met before, and we make sound check just, and then we go on the stage. But even I don't select musicians. It's not my task. So I ask my local promoter, you can choose some interesting musicians from a local music scene, because they know much more about me anyway for local scene. And some of the promoter is did already maybe 10 times or more times arranged my show. So they going to make some problem with me, because they know that I make many things, different things. So sometimes they arrange some noise maker, but not really loud noise, this so small noise, and all four noise maker with this one, and I must make music with this. You know, things like that is coming. So, but for me, it's welcome because I like adventures. So any kind of situation, I like to make so things like this. So that's also a provocation too, and because it's quite against this social system, and it's not the industry, it's not things like that, and so I'm just so I'm really happy to doing things like this.
So
maybe I get out of a point. Huh?
No. I mean, I find that very interesting, and the fact that you have kind of had this approach to life for such a long time. So working in a band for 3 years, I mean, how was that experience with respect to this theory of kind of spontaneity and more I guess unplanned collaboration? You're in a very kind of regimented almost environment.
Yes, but I don't like to make it anymore. So like this is 3 years with the same people. So you know, I'm not so interested anymore to belong to any kind of organization or any kind of a group. So you know, I'm not so much interested about this because I like to be free with myself. So that means so I'm just kind of provocating all the time. And also I'm searching for something. Maybe I don't know, I didn't find it. Maybe I found it, I don't know. Because I really don't like to have any kind of answers. If you have answer, so already you can reach goals. It's quite boring for me. So that's why I'm making this kind of the music, because this is a kind of not product. Product is already you have answer. So I don't like to have a product. I like just this processing, ing, ing, and so things like this. So these actually fits together with me, how I'm living. So if you are making music, you must be yourself, and also your personality and everything involved must be equal to music. Otherwise, you cannot make honestly music. So you know.
I think that might be a good place for us to get a sense of what you're talking about here in terms of your tour, your Never-Ending Tour. So can we play a clip from the Never-Ending documentary? This is a bit of live performance and a little bit of interview. So that was a clip from Francesco Di Loreto's 2005 documentary about you called Never-Ending. There's a couple of things in there. You said cooking is like anarchy. And you kind of elaborate on that point because you say all you need are these basic things, which, you know, salt, fat, heat, you can make something. What are the basic elements of your music making? Is there anything that you consider that you just need?
Yeah, that's now I'm doing the difference than before, because I was with a group and so composing and together and so things like that. Now I'm quite interesting. So every night I perform together with the different people that I never met before. So I don't know any technical things about them, and also music taste I don't know. So sometimes I performed with a country western guitarist or things like this, so total different music, sometimes with a brass band, and sometimes with 50 people and 35 singers, and sometimes with disabled people, and all the time is different. I cannot compare this and this because it's how I am. So as I told you, music is communication because I like people. And so that's why I can make it anytime, so just things, so every country different, every city different, and sometimes I perform together with only females, and how I can say, so
it seems like the only thing you need is an element of the unknown.
Yeah, because it's a kind of a skill, So it's my quite ego. I like to have adventure. So, but I really like to have because otherwise my life is quite boring, So just doing every time same things, understaying the same thing. So that I cannot make it because since when I was a teenager, I used to traveling and busking on the street and so. So just I cannot stop this kind of things. So if you eat really good food and you taste it, then you cannot forget this taste. So I'm so doing things like that. So just I cannot make. Without this, I think my life is quite empty.
I like the idea that, we should also clarify and say that you pretty much only perform live. There are not too many studio recordings that you've put out over the last 30 plus years of touring. There are some live recordings, there's a couple of studio recordings, some of which we'll play, but you prefer live, and I think all of the stuff that you've talked about here, your theories seem conducive to the spontaneous environment. Do you feel like that gives you and all of the different participants, the musicians and the audience, a new sense of ownership over the music?
I like this moment that next moment, I don't know, what's going to happen. So next moment, I like this kind of skill, so more than already planned and I know already clearly and I have answer. I don't need any kind of answer. So that means I don't like to have any kind of information. So information kills me too much, and if you have so much information, so for instance, for you is a music field. So if you have many information about the music, then you don't have so much space to create with yourself. So if you don't have so much information, you can go any kind of the place so further, and that's the best thing so you can do in a creative activities. So I don't need any kind of information. That's why I like this moment. I don't know these musicians, and I don't know anything about them. Even I don't know their history, and so nothing I know of them. And we make some special moment, and this is really so for me it's really like a human-like, because long time before we begin with the music this way to communicate with another people. But I don't think at that time we made the music. We just a different kind of folks. It's on the hill and making some signal with the smokes. And this is the beginning of the music, so I think so. Not really like music, like, so it's kind of a signal.
It's also a more unique experience for someone to come and see you, to see something special you do that night, or talk to someone who's next to them in the audience versus just listening to a CD, which everyone is going to listen to in the same way. It offers, it's not just you getting something out of it, it's everyone in the room getting something out of it.
Yeah, one thing that I really don't like from modern music is it's quite too short, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and things like that. It's not naturally. So it's just they make things like that for radio station or something like that. So beside the music, some kind of thing is working on. So I really don't like. That's why I used to hear only at the moment only listen to classical music, because it's much more longer, and it's long is actually so quite for me it's natural things. So you can play 3 minutes improvisation. It's not possible to make only 3 minutes improvisation, and so life itself is so it's not cut it off for 3 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. It's not so really necessary. So if you play something, so you don't like to stop. So that's why my longest pieces on a CD is 77 minutes for one piece. So why not? Because nobody else is doing like this. And so anyway, I think so. Every kind of artist or musician or painter or however, so who is involved in the art, is their task is stealing time of another people. So that's why I really like to take much more time than as possible, so from the people.
So 77 minutes is the longest on recording.
Record it, yes.
And what about live?
Live is sometimes 2.5 hours, only one piece. So.
And then you'll do another piece after that, maybe, or?
Maybe people like it, but actually I don't like to play that much more because only one piece is enough. For one piece with so many elements inside, like how life it is, so many different parties coming. Sometimes really so angry, sometimes really calm and gently, and many different things happen in one piece. And for me, this way to make a music is. Quite a natural way, and no, I'm not thinking that is music. So I'm just much more following something else that I can create much more platform with the people. So platform of the communication. So music is for me just tools to make this platform, I think.
What are you feeling while you're kind of in that moment?
Yes, it depends on, but I'm so always very thankful that I have such an opportunity, and I can meet every time so nice people, and we create own time, we control our time, and we can share this energy to the audience. This is the most beautiful moment, and even for this happiness, sometimes I'm crying. And yeah, it's how it is, so like this.
Do you have any, not precautions, I don't know if that's the right word, but is there anything that you need to do to kind of avoid negative energy kind of impacting you?
No, negative energy is not so much important for me, so I don't like to have this. So if some sound carriers like to play with me, if the name of the band is something to do with Satan or devils or something like that, I said, no, I don't like to play with you because I don't like to have this kind of stuff. And also somebody is involved in the dark music. So this world is so dark enough, so why we should play dark music? So why you shouldn't make people much more happy with this?
What do you consider to be dark music?
Something to do with Satanism and so things like that. And yeah, there is many so heavy metal bands playing like this with these signs and so things like that. Even they don't know what's the meaning of this sign, or. So, but if you know these old signs, then maybe you think it's totally different.
You've also talked a lot about taking inspiration from and enjoying playing around the world with young people.
Yes, very, very young people. Last time in London, I know one venue, so I performed in just a small venue, maybe more than 10 times. And promoter knew that I like to have adventures. So last time I performed together with 18 years old band. So 5 people is 18 years old, but they are totally really good. For such a young age, they make really music, so if they are already 30 or 40 years old, so so it was a really nice experience too. And the youngest one who ever performed with me was 15 years old guitarist, and it was also nice. And 10 years later, I performed together with just the same person, and so I can see development, and it's a nice moment to see. So some people is growing up.
I think sometimes older people think that young people don't have something of value to offer.
No. I think young people have much more interest because they don't have so really clearly perspective. So if you don't have a perspective, no, you have perspective to make something in the music field, but you are not so much so experienced in the life itself. That's why it's quite interesting, because as I told, so if you have so much information, you cannot be creative. So, and if I perform with somebody already 40 or 50 years old, they have already kind of music style, and they never going to change. But young people, I really like to perform with young people or young nation, for instance, like last time I performed in Albania and Kosovo and so, but they have something, so something which I don't have. And for me, it's also a learn process still now to play together with young people and I can get something from them. Not they are getting from me things. So there is always this kind of thing is also communication. So I'm taking with them something, and I give them something. So
What are you taking from them?
oh, energy. So young energy is totally different than so our energy and also ideas. So many people here is generation of a computer generation. So my time was nothing to do with computer. So it's much more interesting to make music itself because everybody would be creating so many different things because you don't have to learn how to play guitar or something like that. But if you are keen on that technical things, then you can go some different way than I went. So that's quite interesting, and I learn many things from young people. So if I don't have this process by myself, it's I think quite a boring life because there's many so possibilities because we have so many brain cells. I don't know how many, but you must use it actually. So then you get some interesting ideas and creativity, and so, or maybe you can find totally different things. For instance, if you see on that, if you have here some apple, you can see from here, and you can see from here, you can see from here, and you can see from. But it's not all. If you cut it, then you can see another things. Then you can maybe coat up it. Then different kind of things you can see it, and that's so much different things you can see for only one thing. So there is a thing, so many things to learn from young people because young people's thought is unlimited, but older people is already quite limited because they like to have a security life and things like that, which is not that much important, but they like to have security, get to children and get car, get a house and so things like this. But the young people don't think so, things like this, much more real natural things. So passion, longing, and also things like this. So that's things I can learn from many so young people.
What is Damo Suzuki's network?
Yes, Damo Suzuki's network is so before actually it was beginning from 1997, so almost 10 years I didn't make a music, and so one promoter invited me to come to Japan, so then I must make a band, and so I asked some friends to come. That was the beginning of the network. So almost three years long, I performed together with my friends. So for every tour, so different people. But since 2013, so 19th of March, I changed my opinion about to make a network. So different kinds of network, I should make it. 19th of March 2003 was a historical moment because there was many demonstrations on the street and many people was against bombing Iraq. But the Americans did it, ignored, and I was quite angry too. That same day, I flew from San Francisco via Las Vegas to John F. Kennedy Airport, and early in the morning, I had this news. I was really bad feeling, and also angry, so I thought maybe I can make something. But I'm not kind of the person so playing a big tam-tams or something like that, So I thought maybe I can make something step by step to get communication between the people. So music itself is a communication. So if there is many communication, there is no violence. So violence is not only in a battlefield, in a family, in a social, in an office or school, there is many violence. So I thought, so I can use this power of the music as a weapon against violence. So that's the beginning of network projects. Now I'm doing so. That means I'm go to one place to another place and perform together with only local sound carriers, because it's much more near to the audience too, and I don't bring somebody from far from to together with me anymore. I just go there alone and creating time and space of the moment.
Why is your tour called the Never Ending Tour?
Yes, never ending tour is because I'm quite egoistic, so I like to live as long as possible, and so as long as I exist, I may traveling and I make music, and this is a passion which make me stable in my life.
How did so you were diagnosed with colon cancer and you've had some surgeries. How did your illness kind of impact your ability to be spontaneous, but also your ideas of never ending? Does it bring up questions of mortality?
Yes, because music is a healing people, and I think music has helped me so quite a lot. But besides that, I'm quite a religious person. I'm a believer in the Bible, and both together. So, and for me, it's quite important to make a music that. I had such an experience, bad experience, really so hard, 3.5 years, so without any freedom, and I must stay in the hospital for so long time. So I survived. So now my mission is to give somebody information or to give somebody positive feeling who has the same problem. So I had opportunity, so I survived. So why not? So I can, if I can help or if I can support another people, then it's the best things I can do. And things like that I was doing with the music too, so already, because this kind of the music open people's mind and people's perspectives getting more deeper, and so things like this. It's quite important for me to do this as my mission. So I mean, so everybody have kind of mission, everybody. But for my mission is like this.
How does so you see never ending as something that will continue beyond you?
So yes, never ending is actually for everybody's dreams to live so long as possible, and actually it's quite a natural dream or natural things that to think, so like to live forever. So so I think because life itself is quite living. If you are doing something interesting, it shouldn't be only music and any kind of things. People who is working in a normal company too, if they have a really good attitude and really good philosophy, they are really happier with this, because he is able to do this and able to spend his lifetime for this. And it's not to depend on the music. No, just as I'm telling, because I'm making music, that's why. So, but there's many interesting jobs you can get it, and you can develop with yourself, and it's always connecting with never ending, because people don't think that tomorrow I'm going to die and I'm going to left. That's why today I'm going to make this and this and this. So then your life is quite tight already and planned already. So like as I'm doing, so creativity is unlimited, so you can go many ways. So that means energy flow so all the time, and that is never ending. So and then you can trust in yourself. If you don't have time span and time period that you must finish like this and this and this, but if you know you are believing, you are living so maybe 100, 200 or 300 years, so you can make many things. So because we are slaves of the time, everybody, and so within just a short period of the time, people is doing something, but instead you're believing something else. So then the life gets much more rosy and much more interesting, and you have so, unchanged feeling, and you have your freedom. That's the things.
I wanted to play a piece of music that was actually recorded. This is a collaboration with the Japanese artist K-Bomb, who also goes by Killer Bong, and it's from 2011. Came out on Black Smoker Records, and the project is called Killer Damo. So I'm going to pull that up. That was Damo Suzuki and Killer Bong. From, I think that was recorded in 2011. And that was about a few minutes of a 32-minute piece of music that I just played. So what does it take to get you into the studio to record something?
No comment. No, I just don't like to go to studio because against the machines are cool, and not the human warmness is there. So, and one of the most important factor of my kind of music is audience. So audience has so feedback, and they have energy, and they give me energies, and it's connecting together, and this thing is so I cannot separate, and I cannot compare with machines.
So was that recorded in studio, or was there an audience there?
Yeah, it was an audience together.
There was an audience there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So then you were able to kind of.
And it was a live concert.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wonder so many people stayed there for so many hours. So so this kind of the music. So.
And that was with a Japanese rapper.
Yeah, Japanese rapper and Japanese DJ. So so this kind of people I never saw before. But once again, I made a concert together with me. So it was 2010 or something like this. So.
Is there a tradition of? I mean, you don't like the word improvisational, but kind of spontaneous music making in Japan?
Not really. So I don't have so much. So how it's called? It's fun or something. So I don't like a follower in Japan. So even in Germany, it's also not so much. But I mainly perform in England. So 80% of the concert is in England.
Well, it was kind of interesting then that you were able to kind of go back to Japan and meet with these young guys who are kind of working in the same way as you.
Yes, I did it. So until 2011, something like that. So now I don't go especially to Japan because for problem with radiations and things like this. So I'm not so, and actually I don't have anywhere. I really like to stay for a long time. So I'm at the moment staying in Germany, but already since 1970, so almost 50 years. But this is not my last station, because for me there is no last station. So I continue to find somewhere, so nice place. But taste of the people is so time to time changing. So now I'm saying something like this. Maybe 3 days after I'm saying a totally different thing. So who knows?
Don't quote him.
So it's almost like a way of politicians. They cannot remember anything. So what they said 5 days before.
How can these people in the room maybe be a little less self-conscious or less fearful around their musical expression?
But I didn't understand really. Sorry about it.
Maybe you can give some advice on how the musicians in this room might be able to channel some of what you're doing. So being more trusting, I suppose, in the moment. Can you give some advice on how they might do that?
How to make it so everybody is so totally different, and so, but just as a performer, don't get nervous. Instead, you must be a happy person. because you have this opportunity to make a music that not many people have this kind of time, but you have this time. So you must just enjoy yourself. And if you are enjoying and already, there is already positive energy comes in the audience. So they have only good concert. Nothing bad things happens. So, but many people is asking me, so before concert, some sound carrier, local sound carrier is asking me, you don't get nervous? No, I don't get nervous. So, but, and just I'm just happy to meet together with this audience and play together, music together with this. So there is nothing else is there, just my happiness.
Find your happiness, guys. Can you talk a little bit about the spirituality in this approach?
Yes, so spirituality is so just a beginning. So if you believe in a God exists or not, this is the beginning of everything for every questions. But mainly people don't believe it. So I'm sure so 90% of the people is not believing in a creator who create the universe and the human being and nature and everything. So, but and many people are thinking people who is believing God is something so strange person, because why people must think that God doesn't exist? It's kind of, for me, it's kind of brainwashed, because they don't research anything. So it's not so much connecting with religion things or spiritual things. But if you doubt about with yourself, why you don't research? Many people just taking so information from your father, mother, or country, or many things. That's why Japanese people is believing in Buddhism and Shintoism. But actually, they don't know anything, because it's traditions. Or maybe in England, so queens is there, and many people is believing in the queens and the king's family and things like this. But this is something to do with traditions. But if you check, if you research many things, then you can find different perspective. And so curious about many things is actually so important things to develop yourself. And if you are not curious, you never come to these spiritual things, because many things is total against spiritual things, so believe in God. Because, for instance, TVs, they are making so different information than reality. And also newspapers, any kind of medium is making like this. Also, you learn the history or something like this. History is also quite a lot of things quite wrong, because they write a perspective from winner's country. So loser is always forgetting about from the history and things like this. So if you look around many things, there is things you doubt about things, but before that, you must be curious about things, where you come from, who you are. And this thing is quite important to know. And then you come suddenly to spiritual things. And because it was, so human was totally different before thousands of the years, totally different, because they didn't have any kind of information. And now we have war of information all over the world. So if you go to internet, you don't know what is the truth. So then there's many different kind of conspiracy theory and so things like this, and so many things is happening. But now it's very difficult to find the own truth. And the beginning of the human being was also problem with information. It's so strange, but it was the information, because snake give it to the Eva, you should eat this one, and if you eat this one, you get so intelligent like a god. So this was wrong information, and now we are so facing to wrong information too. So it's all things are quite connecting. So if I talk about football and food, I can get anything is also connecting. Many things is connecting. So.
How have your ideas of spirituality changed over the years? I mean, does it change in response to kind of?
Actually, I don't. It didn't change because I used to read the Bible, but I'm not a Catholic or Protestant because they are doing wrong things too, and they don't read in the Bible. They are not, for instance, they are celebrating 25th of December as a birth of Jesus Christ, but it's not true. It's nowhere in the Bible is standing. For this one, for instance, I research. Then I got the result. 25th of December is actually birth of Nimrod. Nimrod is an ancient Babylonian king, and he was the first person against God and made a kingdom. And after Noah's stuff. So this is the people is celebrating this day, and also this Santa Claus with white gray bath, and so this is same looks like Odin in a religion, to all the ancient religion of Scandinavia. So that's why Santa Claus looks like this. And Santa Claus, this Claus is the same word as coming from Nimrod. And it's so strange. If you research many things, you can get really so interesting point. And that's why I'm so quite spending quite a lot of time to researching many things. So because without get any result, I feel really bad. Maybe I cannot sleep for 3 or 4 days. So I must have something to find. So my way or my truth and things like that. So that is a spiritualities. So very beginning to compare what is the churches at the moment doing, or Muslims doing, or so Buddhist or Hinduism or something like this. So I'm connecting. So I'm researching many things, and so. But suddenly that comes that Vatican is quite not really good. So things, and they killed many people too, and you can find some kind of truth with this on the history. And that's really good things. And this is, for me, is quite a good essence for my living. So it's kind of food, so soul food, so I can say.
Do you make music by yourself ever, like just when you're at home?
No, I don't listen to any kind of the music, not at all. So.
You don't make music, you don't listen?
No. I don't listen. I listen to only classical music, so occasionally, but I don't practice or anything. So I just go everywhere, like I'm Damo Suzuki. So it's okay if I cannot sing, but it's still I'm Damo Suzuki, and just I go there, and everything's okay. People is happy, so to play together with me or things like that. So I just don't like to practice. Maybe I'm a too lazy person. And, maybe I'm a hopeless person, so it's not right to sit here, this place, so. But that's how I am, so I cannot change. Sorry.
I don't know if I would say hopeless. I wanted to play one more piece of music, which was actually... This was recorded in a studio with Jelly Planet that was not in front of an audience. So this came out this year, and it's a track called What
was this? Will the Schweinbraten oder sowas.
Yes,
so.
He gave me the German because I'm feeling self-conscious. Okay.
Even I don't know the title of the songs which I made.
Wildschweinbraten. That's it.
Thanks.
That was Damo Suzuki and Jelly Planet with Wildschweinbraten. It goes on for another 10 minutes or so, so feel free to check it out. When you're recording something in the studio, which is very rare, this is very rare for you, how are you doing your thing if there's no people there?
Yeah,
there's no audience.
Yes, actually, so they are my friend for a long time, so since 90s, and they were recording in a Cologne, so where I live, and the guitarist called me up. What are you doing? So if you have the fun and the time, then you can just come to the studio and we are making this. But he didn't told about we are going to make together recording. And my wife there was cooking food for them.
She was making Wildschweinbraten.
Yes, Wildschweinbraten is also food from Germany. And that's why this title is called Wildschweinbraten, so things like that. So first of all, I didn't know what's going to happen, and he just said to me, so when open at the studio door, then we're going to improvise already. So things like that happen. So.
Is that?
Yeah,
is it difficult for you when?
No. It's not difficult, but it's so strange. So if you have only one booth per singer and nobody's standing and the guitarist is playing somewhere else and the keyboard player somewhere else, it's for me it's not so naturally so separated. So if on that stage it's totally different because everybody's near to you and I can see faces and all things like this. So it's much more communication there. So optical communication. So it's totally different, but they recorded it, and so they asked me, so what about, so maybe we're going to release also. I said, it's okay, so we can make it, but it's not my my little way, so. But sometimes things like that happen, so like by accident, you know. Because I'm living with always with accident, so it's just really nice. So if you don't plan and it just happens, and I say yes or no, you know, that's quite natural. So.
Well, thank you for taking the time to say yes to coming here and interacting with us. Please, everyone, say thank you to Mr. Damo Suzuki.
Yeah, thank you very much for taking time with us here, and so I wish you a great creative activities in the future. So we can see somewhere in the world again, and then I'm so happy if you talk to me. So yeah, I was in a Red Bull Academy, and I saw you, and if I see somewhere else, maybe in a, you know, New Zealand or somewhere. So it will be nice. Thank you very much for taking time. And have a nice day. Thank you.
We'll actually do a few questions from the room. They're going to ask you some questions.
Hi, thank you. I just wonder, since you have this very free, almost childlike spirit, which other people have to meditate for like a whole lifetime. And I wonder if you were just born like that or if you actually practice something. Do you meditate? Do you, like, because you're so free and your spirit is so free and it's, yeah, like something other people have to practice for a lot.
Yes. For normally, so normal people, so including me, you cannot remember before when you are 5 years old. So I cannot say anything else. So. But it just came, and I don't practice anything. I told you I'm a so lazy person. And, you know, just happens, and I take it as it comes, because I just don't like to do anything against natural flow. And I like to live with this. If somebody come with me with these ideas, then I like to work with it. If it's good with my sense of the living, so then I make it. So I take just things which I like, It's my freedom. And I really don't like to do things, even I can get so much money and doing this and so spending my time for this bullshit. And I really don't like to do this. So actually this one is coming naturally, so come. Because I was trying to live and I'm still doing, I'm really happy to being Damo Suzuki and nobody else. And that means I'm not egoism or something like this. But the best thing you can do is be yourself, and it helps you so much. And don't be anybody else. It's impossible to make it. You don't need a copy of somebody, you know. So it's impossible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more question though.
Yes, yes. You are not a lazy person.
You said that you are probably searching for something. So I was wondering if you had any insights that you could share with us, like, I don't know, like life lessons, just some wisdom that you maybe found in your music making that you feel like sharing?
So sharing is actually so, like now I said, you must have your own experience to create, so because everybody is different. So even myself is different yesterday, today, maybe tomorrow totally different. So different ideas and so things like this. So to involved in this life is actually you making things which you feel good at the moment, not now, because now is really short time. Now it doesn't exist, but at the moment you can involve this one and you can do best as a possible, and you are using this time, then you can make something. So even there is many pressures and many people think, it's not get happen or it's too difficult to make this. But if you go one step forward, then many things are coming together with you because you are moving place A to B. But if you all the time stay in place A, then never happens anything. So every day, same people or same situation, and so you cannot do anything else. But if you go only one, maybe 30 centimeters or something like this, then totally different atmosphere, you can get it. From this, you can challenge your creativity and do something which is not comparable with another people, because every second, this moment is your special moment. And this special moment, if you catch it so often as possible, then you can make really your own things. To make your own thing is good, because for people's eyes, this is never-ending music. So you can hear it fresh 20, 30 years later. Also, you can hear it because it's your music. But if you are copying somebody else, music is always connecting with some kind of epoch. This is music from the 60s, 70s, or 80s. And the texture is also from that time, from social things. So then if you hear it, it's too old. And you cannot hear it. So it's always good to have a fresh supplement, and you go together with this one. And also your philosophy is, so it's very important. So what kind of philosophy you have. But always thinking really positive things, because positive things bring you forward. And you can develop, and you can help people too. You can share this energy and this vibe to the another people. And that's why, so I'm making music and nothing else. So this is my mission, to make people, so the young people are here, to get much more creativity. But creativity is, so inside of the creativity is many things that, which is just your special moment, you must catch it.
Hi. I also do a lot of voice improvisations like you, and I wonder, how do you make up lyrics? And what do you sing about when you improvise?
Yes, so many people is asking me what is a lyrics. So when once in a time, so I was with Cans, I was trying to make a lyric. But if I make a lyric, then already some kinds of rhythm is also inside. So it's not really so naturally so. So for me, now I'm using this kind of word, which is not Japanese, French, Swedish, or English, or so whatever. I like to make a space of interactive. So if people is listening and you are listening, so different meaning from this, and she's so making own stories. And I like this kind of a platform. So everybody is involved in this. If you have a special relax, then people is listening too much for singers. But there is some another people on the stage playing a guitar or keyboard or something like that. But if you have a so texture, people is always concentrating to listen to the lyrics. This I really don't like because I never thought singer is a front man. So I'm not kind of this. So instead of people is having own stories, it's so good thing. So yeah, then after the concert, Damo, you were singing like this. Did I? I cannot remember. But so they understand like this, and it's really good. And another people saying another story. So I'm so giving maybe people some creative moment, not just only as a listener. So I really don't like to have a listener and sound carriers on the stage. So gap I really don't like, because music is you can make it in this space. So occasionally we came randomly, so we came so together and we have a special moment. So somebody is 1 meter outside of the houses, they have a different life and different world. So we can make something so here, and this is your truth, and this is your sources of your energy and creativity.
Hello. Thank you for your words. I really appreciated you bringing up aspects of spirituality and researching things. I just wanted to know, how important do you think it is, especially for younger people, to do more research into their own religious practices and how that can translate into, I guess, your own definitions of spirituality?
Praxis is also quite, I think, quite important, but mainly people is thinking about how you can play as quick as possible, you know, so or something so like this, which is not that much important, because life itself is not so competition against any people, so you must do things against yourself. So otherwise you cannot develop anything. You cannot. I really don't like to compare anything. So, you know, if somebody is asking me which concert you find it good, no, I don't say anything, because every time situations is totally different, the people is also different, the audience is different, the weather is also different. Also, my condition is also different. So why I can compare with this? So I cannot. So the other practice thing is so, it's good to hear another people what they are playing. So because it's a social moment if we are making music together. I never perform alone because I cannot. Because music is communication, at least I need another person. So I perform sometimes with a pianist or guitarist. So I do things like this because I like this moment. We are creating something. So at the moment, because there is 2 different people, there is 3 different opinions. So, but maybe much more. So that is quite interesting to do, not only my stuff, not his stuff, somewhere between, and creating together. Then we can get another substance together, you know. And creativity is really unlimited. So you can go many, many miles, and that's really good. And you never get the answer, but it's still you're flowing this and this and. You shouldn't think you get answer. Answer is not so much important, because practicing and this moment processing, this is the most important things which you carry living energy. And this is the most beautiful moment you can get this creative moment. So, but not the practice. Practice is almost so connecting together with somebody's playing like this, and so if you hear some maybe so people like Hendrix or so, then you suddenly get so like playing like Hendrix, and it's not you. If you make something, so and it's for me it's not so much important. Some people is playing with a skill or something. So good, how it's called? Example. Once I performed a concert somewhere in England. So they sent me information. There's two drummers, but I saw only one kid. Oh, where's another drum? And one guy said, yeah, here is another guitar. Where's the drum kit? I cannot say drum kit. Yeah, and he said, I'm make a beat together with a drum case. And it was so fantastic, so everything you can use as a music instrument. And also, it's not something with the music, but as the idea quite good, because I had interview together with 15 or 16 years old schoolboy for his school newspaper. And his answer was not talking. He was showing some his paintings, and what do you think about this and this? So all 10 were different paintings and photos and some kind of very famous photos and something like this. And I must make with my creative brain to answer something. So like this kind of stuff is good because it's really interactive, and I cannot prepare to get answer. And I really like always saw somebody's trying to kill me, so really, and giving me so adventure. So it's really fun. So that's why, so practice is not so much important. So just do yourself and find your things and keep on going with this one. It's the best things you can get and easiest way. So not only for especially lazy person like me, so but you can make it.
More questions? Okay. Oh.
Hello, thank you. I want to know again what the name of the last song you played. Yeah.
Me to say it.
Huh?
With the Schweinbraten.
Oh, and what were you thinking? Like, I feel like it's so much like extreme happiness. Like, what were you thinking when you were like playing or?
No, I don't have any particularly texture. No, just I don't have it. Just because I don't like to think it. Because if you have a lyric already, there is a kind of rhythm is already developed, So I really don't like this form. So I really like to have all things really free. So there is no textures, but I have message. Message is behind the music. So what is music? The message is, I told you already, my philosophy and things like this. This is a message. So other things are not so important because you are changing. So if you are cold, you get another dress. And if you are getting warm, another dress. So things like this. And time to time, so totally different. And I just don't like to live with a natural flow. That's it.
So maybe the real question is, what did it make you think, listening to that piece of music?
Yeah. Yes.
What did you think?
I don't know. I just felt very, very, very happy.
That's really nice. So me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, sorry I'm not a participant, but
It's okay.
thank you, Damo, for coming. Love you very much. I have a lot of questions, so I have to try and think of just one. I really appreciate artists who have a strong philosophy in life, and I feel like that's actually more important than the form of the art. So that they can carry around and kind of spread that ideology. It's kind of hard to figure out how to pose this question. One, I really think you have an amazing sense of melody when you're singing and cadence. And I wonder for you, when you're performing, if when you get into the flow state of performing and with other people and playing off of their energy, if there's also a point of in you, like a conduit, where you feel you're taking divine information and it's coming through you, and that's part of your philosophy and sharing musically, why you're on stage.
It's time to time different. So it's sometimes caused by which kind of the music supporting band is playing too. You know, so if a supporting band is playing loud music, I don't begin with loud music. So it's dependent, and also sound carriers playing together with me, how they play, and it's totally different too. So that's my philosophy for any kind of situation. I make something, so it's really good because at the moment I'm doing this, and so let's see so what's going to happen and so things like this. Because if you go to football match, if you know result already, it's quite boring to see it. So this is same like music too. My music is so you don't have any result. So you are going together and you are traveling together, we are in a trance, and we are going together somewhere else with this kind of stuff. And this is so how instant composing work like this, and this is the purpose of me to make a music, because I myself don't know also result. So the audience doesn't have also result. We find it together, result, togetherness. And this is a real pure, naked communication. I really like to have this kind of a platform. That's the basement of things of this. Maybe I get out of the point, I don't know.
Okay. All right. If there's no more questions, then... Oh, there is a question. Okay. So there's a question.
Afterwards, the participants.
Okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Suzuki, for being here.